Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am overcoming a cold, but let's talk about Bang. Bang is a classic card game, and its app has been out for several months. However, I have been consciously avoiding reviewing it, hoping for the additional features to arrive, but they are nowhere in sight, so let's take a look anyway. Bang is a take-that card game with hidden roles, and though I think the choices are meaningful, it is not a heavy strategy game. As I mentioned, Bang is a game of hidden roles. Each player will be given a role, and will put them on a certain team. The sheriff's role will be revealed to all players, and if the sheriff dies, the outlaws win. The vice deputy will try to protect the sheriff and help the sheriff to win. The renegade wants to be the last one standing, and then will kill the sheriff, and the outlaws want to kill the sheriff. The first person to accomplish their goal, or the first team to accomplish their goal, will be the winners. The roles are shuffled together and dealt secretly to each player. The player who receives the sheriff card will flip that card face up, meaning everyone will know who the sheriff is. If you are not the sheriff, you keep your role hidden. Each player also receives a character card. This character is unique and will have both a life point total, which is the number of bullets on the side, as well as a special ability. In Bang, players will have a hand of cards equal to their life total. At the end of each turn, they also can only have this number of cards in their hand. If they have taken damage, they will have less cards to work with. Blue border cards are items that can be placed in front of the player. There are many different varieties of cards, and we will not see all of them here, but we will explain some of them. The beer card allows players to gain health, and the stagecoach allows players to draw 2 cards. Here it is. The Bang card, perhaps the most important part of the game. Once per turn, players may play a Bang card, where they shoot at another player. If the player cannot miss or dodge, they will take a damage from the Bang. To counteract Bang cards, there are also miss cards. When attacked with a Bang, a miss card will negate that Bang. Also, in the game of Bang, the distance you are from other players at the table matters if you can shoot them or not. Therefore, you need a gun to shoot further or distant players. There are also cards that can modify your distance from other players. For example, this makes you 1 further from other players. Bang is not a serious or strategic game, but is one that I quite enjoy and happens to be the game that got me back into the board gaming hobby. I know it has a bad rap on the geek, but let's take a look at the app and see if it perhaps improves or changes our opinions of it. Bang was released about 10 months ago in a flurry of hype, even had a television commercial. However, all this hype was focused on multiplayer across many devices, and when these features were not included in the launch of the app, I believe I and many other players kind of felt disappointed. But it's still a high-quality app, and let's take a look at it. Bang is a very well graphically designed app. You will be initially impressed by its graphic design, and I believe it is a good example of what is possible on the device. To set up a single-player game is fairly simple. You can choose the total number of players, ranging from 3 to 8, and the number of players chosen will change the roles as per game rules. There's also an easy and normal mode. Easy mode does not include special powers for the characters. You can even select the role that you would like to be for the match, or leave it random as in with the actual game. You can also choose what character you would like to be. The great graphic design is carried over into the in-game play. It does a great job of showing several players playing at once. Once in the game, the interface is fairly simple with just a drag and drop system. Sometimes it can be tricky to grab the cards you want. The AI players in the game seem to play fairly well. Now, of course, Bang is a fairly random game, and I'm used to playing with younger children, so perhaps the haphazard moves of the AI do not totally surprise me, but in most cases I feel like they're making good choices. Games with 5 or more players can take quite a while, as you will be watching each player's turn. The AI moves fairly quickly, but it does want to show you each thing that it's doing so that you can determine what player is doing what. When it's your turn, what each card does will be highlighted above. This is useful if you forget the function of a card or if you're new to the game. The app does feature Pass and Play, which is a useful addition in this case, as the game is meant to be enjoyed by families, and I believe that the Pass and Play feature of the app can be used in situations where playing the card game would just not be feasible, such as the car or in other situations. The game does feature a tutorial that teaches the game rather well as an in-game rulebook that will explain to you any other questions you may have. It even has instructions as to how to use the app itself, not just the rules of the game. It also contains other cool, neat additions, such as the ability to change the backdrop of both the splash screen and the in-app play. Some of these backdrops are really beautiful, and it's fun to play around with them. That was a brief overview, but I'm not sure how much more my voice can handle. It's hard not to be disappointed in Bang when it's something I enjoy so much. Bang could have been the greatest app in the world, and I'm sure I would still find ways to complain about it. As far as design, Bang is a stellar hit. It is by far one of the most well-designed apps on the market. It manages to display all the information of the game in a creative and both interesting manner. Bang has been called an app that launched too early, and I agree with that statement. It is missing online multiplayer and the characters with their abilities, which were features that were promised from the start. I feel like the developers really need to focus on this app and support it so that it will not stagnate and continue to rise in the sales as well as popularity. Bang does need the updates it was promised at launch, and I hope that we haven't seen the last of the support for this app. However, currently, as a solitaire experience or pass and play, and also as an example of innovation in game design on the iOS, it is a great app to own.